Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is your host Carmina coming at you with another episode of our incursion through the playing card deck, okay? And today is the turn of the Nine of Diamonds. If you want to watch other videos in this in-depth series, you can check out the playlist. I'm going to link it in the description box. And there's also some videos for beginners because these videos are more in-depth, more advanced, so they may confuse some beginners as they also contain references to the birth card and the birth spread, okay? Okay. And as always, we'll be using the card deck that I designed. It's called the Carmina deck. And if you want to get a copy, there's only like a couple left. So make sure you order until, there's some left. So, the Nine of Diamonds. You can see it here. It's really, you see, the first thing you see that strikes you is the color, okay? So the background, the white, which is the ether, is populated by some red, rhombuses, some red diamonds. And of course, the reds in the cards of truth are the feminine, the receptive principle, while the blacks are the more yang, action-oriented, initiating type of energy. So right off the bat, by just looking at the color, we see that, okay, this is a more feminine type of energy, but then we also look at the number, okay? There's no number written there, but you can tell that it's an odd number. You see the symmetry that is broken up by a card. So whenever we see an odd card, we know that, okay, there's some tension, something more difficult. And also when we see this Nine of Diamonds, we realize, okay, this is the last card, the last single digit card in the diamond suit. So it has to have a special meaning, a special connotation. And of course, while the Eight of Diamonds that we discussed last week constituted some friendship with the self, the Nine of Diamonds, as all nines, constitute a friendship with the divine. So it's a divine friendship in the suit of diamonds. It's a divine friendship with what diamonds represent. So that is resources, concrete resources, land, finances, concrete skills. Okay, so everything that the diamonds can be. And in addition to that, the Nine of Diamonds are a very intuitive card. So it's like surrendering to the world around you, because the diamonds correspond to the earth element. So it's like concrete, earthy things around you. So having a divine friendship with that earth will also make a person be receptive to the messages of that earth. So that would make the person interpret these omens, these messages of life that they see in a very intuitive way, because, red cards, feminine cards are more receptive, more intuitive. You also might remember at the 6, I said, okay, that's a very intuitive card, the 6 of Diamonds, and the 9 of Diamonds is a very intuitive card as well. Ernst Wilhelm calls it the astrologer card, because that's what astrologers do. They interpret, the omens, the movement of some objects in the sky to make predictions and to explain things in life. So the Nine of Diamonds. If you were to look at the Major Arcana in Tarot, the Nine of Diamonds corresponds to the Fool card, as the other 9, the Nine of Hearts. But this Nine of Diamonds is even more important, I would say, because it's one of the semi-fixed cards. So what that means is that it interchanges its place in the quadration always with the Seven of Hearts. So it has an even more of an ending connotation, okay? So the Nine of Diamonds specifically can also be the conclusion, the end to something related to the diamond suit, to value, to money. It can be a lot of expenses. It can be an act of charity. It can be, making a contract, or not really a contract, like a conclusion with something earthy, okay? With something concrete in life. I think it's a good card. But it depends, of course, it depends how you see it, how you feel it. It depends where it is. I'm saying it's a good card because the nines all have the energy of the South Node, Ketu. So that always brings more a tolerance, acceptance, a kind of liberation to that suit. It's like, okay, you're at the end of these, single-digit pip cards, and you kind of let go of it. But you understand it. You have a divine friendship with it. So that's why you're able to let go and recognize the value, and the divinity in everything earthy as well, whether you like it, whether it's validating or not. So as I said, this Nine of Diamonds, when it shows up, it can be, okay, the person will make some great expenses. They will have to spend, a lot of money. And how you can think about it is, okay, I'm gonna spend this money, but I'm like a channel for abundance. So I'm just, by spending money, they're just circulating. And, the people who I'm spending money for are worth getting this money. So they're worth as much as me having these resources or this money or whatever. So like that idea of tolerance and then of understanding, which is kind of difficult to achieve. That's why the eights and the nines can only be achieved after going past the gate at the seven, which is like letting go of victimization. So yeah, that's in a nutshell the interpretation of the Nine of Diamonds when we see it in the card spread. Of course, if we see it reverse, if you judge reverse cards, because some people don't, but I do, if you see it reverse, it shows that the energy of the card is not quite concreted. It's not quite, matured. So it shows you, okay, you need to take a step back and go to the Eight of Diamonds and have more friendship with yourself, more self-validation with your value, because, this suit is all about value, before you can just, let go of it all and just have a divine and a more spiritual relationship with money. And I'm going to say that, if this card is your birth card, or if it shows in your birth card related, to some good planet, some good self factors, it can be the indicator that you have very good intuitive abilities. So if it's your birth card, if you have the ascendant on it with some nice things there, if you have it as your path, if you have the planet with the highest degree there, or if you just have like a bunch of delighted planets there, okay, if you have Jupiter there, if you have Ketu there, then, you're going to be very intuitive, because Ketu, the South Node, is always connected to the nines, and Ketu is the planet of astrology, okay? So that's why the Nine of Diamonds is the card of the astrologer. Okay, so now that we mentioned Nine of Diamonds as a birth card, let's just take a look when Nine of Diamonds presents itself as a birth card. So we can just see here, let me try to make it a little bigger. Pretty much the same. So we see there's a bunch of diamonds in the year spread, and if you are born after sunrise at your place of birth on the 18th of January, 16th of February, 14th of March, 12th of April, 10th of May, 8th of June, 6th of July, and 4th of August, 2nd of September. Then, if you are born in one of these days, again, I'm going to repeat, after sunrise at your place of birth, then your 9 of Diamonds birth card. If you're born before sunrise at your place of birth, then you are most probably a 10 of Diamonds, which is the card of the day before. So now let me just share the screen where we check out the 9 of Diamonds birth spread. So this is, the screen you get when you open Kala and you put in a chart. And where we are going to look at is the Queen Quadration, because that contains the birth cards, okay? The rest of it we will ignore for this lesson because we just need the birth spread. So this is the Queen Quadration. You just click on it and then voila. You see the birth card, the 9 of Diamonds, and then you see the 13 other cards. You see the cards that correspond to the planets from Sun to Saturn in their natural order. Then you see the nodes, you see the ecliptic, the path that the birth card is on, and then you also see the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So I really like that as compared to other card systems. We also use the ecliptic, we also use the nodes, we use the outer planets. So this is a card system that I find a very useful tool in prediction. So when we look at this birth card, the 9 of Diamonds, okay, so the person is instilled with the 9 of Diamonds qualities from birth. It's usually an intuitive person, okay? We also have to look at their Ketu card because the 9 corresponds to, as we said, to Ketu. We look at, they have there the 6 of clubs. That's great. So it means in past lives they were also into clubby, brainy things. They were into getting a lot of recognition for their intellectual work. And then we look at Ketu the planet. Ketu the planet will be placed in a different way depending on the time and place and date of your birth. Like this layout will be the same for every 9 of Diamonds except for the blue planets above here and on the left, okay? These will be placed according to your personal data. So Ketu the planet in this particular case is in this 2 of Spades. So this hypothetical person also had a past in connecting to what they needed for their health, because the 6 cusp relates to health. So maybe they had some past life in healing as a healer, and they were successful at it because of the 6 of clubs. But let's just focus more on the cards than on these little planets, because it depends for every person. So I'll just give you half the story, which is given by the cards alone. The kingdom the 9 of Diamonds are building is a pretty tough kingdom. It's a 7 of Spades, so it's full of ups and downs with, themselves, who they are as a person, with their health, going up and down. Well, not necessarily their health, but that will also be shown by the cusps and other things. But the suits, the spade suit is a suit very connected to the self, to how the person is, and to their psychological and physical well-being. And the 7 of Spades can show, that their kingdom is with ups and downs in regarding to that, because the sun, also rules the bone. The 7 of Spades there, maybe it can show some fractures in the bone if other factors concur for the person. So what you need to remember, okay, a kingdom they are building, it's full of letting go. It's full of ups and downs. It's full of them realizing what's no longer working, like constantly, and just, parting with things of themselves that are no longer working. So giving up, eliminating, because that's the 7, that's the Saturn energy, giving up what's not working for them without too much victimization. Then the moon card shows their early environment and how they adapt to life. So their early environment has a lot of intellectual connotation. It's connecting to education, an intellectual environment, and how they adapt to life. They always educate themselves. These are lifelong self-educating people. They'll always take classes, always until the day they die. They really enjoy learning and constantly, connecting to some idea that they are attracted to. That's a very nice moon card because it has the 2, so it resonates with the moon energy. But it's a more active, so they just go to connect with that education. The education doesn't fall on them. They have to, make an effort because it's a black suit. Then the Mars card is how they deal with conflict, how they deal with crisis situation. Are they courageous? Are they brave? And yes, I would say they are. Of course, half of it also depends on the position of Mars, where Mars is placed, how Mars is doing. Is it ashamed? Is it, supported by other planets, or is it, sabotaged by other planets? But just by this Mars card alone, they have a strong potential to deal with conflict in a very mature manner and in a very logical manner. And they will usually just, let it go from themselves. They will be the bigger person, to put it frankly. The Mercury card is how they organize their life, how they manage things in their life. And the Jack of Diamonds is, it's a very, they make things look pretty, okay? And they're very concrete and practical. They also need a lot of, I would say, they like the shiny things, because the diamonds are also, the beautiful things. It's also the physical things, like the aspect. They like beautiful things, I would say, because their birth card is 9 of diamonds, their Mercury card, and then they have on the Venus card the 4 of diamonds. So they're really, they are capable of making things look beautiful and presenting them in an attractive way to other people. And they can be, a charming and pleasant people to have around. And then the Jupiter card, that's a bit difficult because we have 4 in the 5th position. So their emotional comfort gets averted unless Jupiter is also strong, or it helps, or there are some things that help. In this particular case, yeah, Jupiter does help, okay? The 4 of Hearts is like, okay, finding your peace, your comfort in devotion, in family, in spirituality, in a connection to something divine. The 4 of Hearts can be seen as a temple, as a church. And then we have and also, for a woman, the Jupiter cards is part of the description of the man. So they would also be attracted to men who are kind of devotional or spiritual in their way. And then the Venus card is what they are satisfied with in relationships and in general. And they're satisfied with the 4 of diamonds. They really like their material comfort. They like to be in a house. That's a good deal. As a partner, they like people who are good looking, because diamonds are also the physical aspects. So they're very much interested in that, the look of people and of things. And, the value that they can bring to them. And then the Saturn card is a bit difficult again, because we don't like to see a 2 in the 7th position. So there's going to be a lot of delays and obstructions to connecting to a remedy, connecting to something that they need. Of course, if Saturn is well disposed, then it will help the card. So it can also show that they are in service to the Two of Spades, which is like healing on a psychological or physical level. Okay, so yeah, these are the cards from Sun to Saturn, and then we have the nodes. We already talked about the South Node, the North Node. We see here the Eight of Hearts. We like to see an 8 on the North Node because it resonates with that energy, the 8 and the North Node energy. It's a synergistic one. The Eight of Hearts is like they have to develop emotional self-sufficiency. You see, they only have one card here, but it's on the Jupiter card. It's like, okay, my emotional security is being tested, and they need to work on their self-validation of their emotions, not always expecting other people to make them feel good. They have to feel good, to realize that good feeling comes from within. The path that they are on is the Six of Spades, so becoming physically and psychologically mature. They will be as happy as they feel they are mature from that psychological and physical level. And then the Uranus card is what they bring to the table on a collective level, what makes them unique, individual, and that's the Queen of Hearts. Like, they can be very nourishing, very mothering, very caring people. Of course, it also depends where Uranus is. That's the other half of the pictures, but that depends on each individual's chart. And then we have the Neptune card, how they bond to the world. Well, when they they get their rewards with their intellectual pursuits, when they make magical things happen with their inspiration, then they feel they can bond to the collective on a deeper and also more spiritual level. The Pluto card, that's a tough one because it's an 8 of diamonds. So the Pluto card is always something that we put a lot of expectation in, but it gets broken, it gets crushed, it gets smashed, it gets exploded, because that's what Pluto does. Pluto is like the dynamite that blows over the shell, the outer shell of what is fake, and just leaves something that is genuine. So the Nine of Diamonds people have to get rid of this expectation about the Eight of Diamonds, which has to do with a great financial success. That doesn't mean like these Nine of Diamonds people are not well materially, but it just shows that, okay, this is not who you are, what you need. You need to have this divine friendship with resources. You need to be the Nine of Diamonds, not the Eight of Diamonds, because you'll see in most cases the Pluto card is the card before the Nine of before the birth card. Okay, yes, so that's about it for today. You might have noticed that I'm a little nasal, and yeah, because I had the laryngitis like a couple of weeks ago, and now I didn't heal properly because I can't take it easy. So now I am a little ill again, so there have also been some delays in my readings, for which I apologize. So that being said, looking forward to see you guys with another video, and let me know if you have any Nine of Diamonds in your per spread. Let me know if you can relate to what is said about the Nine of Diamonds, and yeah, if you want to do readings with me, you can check that out on my website, carmina-amza.com. In my services section, I also offer card classes. Check out the relevant section for that. And again, if you want to get a card deck, there's like very few left on the bottom of the box. Okay, so I'll see you guys soon. Bye.